or the county, I'm sure the city does as well, puts the entire, basically all of the county's information right here in a book. Almost every, I don't know, every elected official, most every department head has a copy of the county budget. This will tell you everything you ever want to know about the county, and it will tell you where your money's going, where your money comes from, where your money goes. City County Secretary, you've got a question.
Well, how often does that update?
This just comes out every year. Actually, what they do is the mayor puts together a budget and gets with the other elected officials, and they come up with a budget, and they actually produce this twice. They produce it as a proposed budget, and then once the county commission has approved it, it's voted on everything, they later put it in this form as the actual budget. County commissions and county mayors, Republicans and Democrats, have just ran our debt sky high. I mean,
what's the debt right now is 1.6 billion.
Yeah, 1.7 billion. Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, and that's $2,000 for every single man, woman, and child in Shelby County.
Debt.
That's debt. So out of that $4.04 that you pay in taxes, $2.02 off the top goes to the schools. 80 cents is being paid on the debt. What that means is that for the actual running of county government, of that $4.04, only about $1.25, $1.30 already is actually spent on running county government.
That's all departments, all administrative functions.
Right. Well, but here's the thing. When you look at all of the countywide elected officials, take out the mayor and the sheriff, you look at my position, the various court clerks, the assessor of property, the register of deeds, the trustee, all except for my office, I've got the smallest of all those budgets. I've got a budget of $625,000. We bring in fees about $550,000, so we take about $75,000 out of county funds that we don't fund ourselves. The majority of those offices, though, everybody except for the assessor and general sessions court, criminal court, because you can't get money out of criminals. You try, but you can't. Everybody else produces a surplus that goes back into the county. So if you take out all the elected officials outside of the mayor and the sheriff as a group, we pay for ourselves in turn more money over to the county.
Then you actually consume.
Right.
You actually produce about 87% of what your required budget is.
Right.
Somewhere in that neighborhood.
Yeah, that's what our office does. But now, as having to follow that, the city has just been giving a gift to the school system for the last 20, 30 years. But a judge has said, no, this maintenance and effort also applies to the city. So, the city, which provides $57 million of this $1.2 billion budget, that for some reason the school board said, oh, we can't open schools without $57 million, even though they've got this $1 billion budget, whatever.
Most of it comes from the state.
Half of it, well, for the county school system, generally what happens is half comes from the state, half comes from the county. For a city school system, because they get the 50-something million, or actually it's about 78 million from the city, let's say 45, and 10.
So the implication here, if I hear that right, there's an implication that there's a lot of inefficiency in the city school system.
That's, yes.
Because I see it from the standpoint of I substitute in the county.
Good to see you.
The county system goes around the school doesn't being the city school system.
Right. So those are employees that they don't even have. Right. And I guess my big thing is the school systems actually, and it's not necessarily any one person's fault, but when you don't have to go and fight for your budget every year, like my office does, and the various elected officials have to go in front of the county commission and prove that they're spending money wisely and they deserve to continue at that level. School systems don't do that. School systems only go and ask for more money. So if they run into a problem, they're going to ask for more money, and chances are they're going to get it because it's for the children. Right. And the reason there's not much oversight is because, as I said, state law says to the county and to the city now, can't give them less than you gave them. So there's no accountability, and that's why coming up. That's why I think, as a citizen, that's why I was for getting rid of the charter. Not so much because I think a bigger is better, or not so much, definitely not for the reason that the school system is, well, we don't want to lose all this money, but it's, we need to do something different, and here's an opportunity to do something different. And so I would encourage everyone to get very interested in this new school board. My guess is the judge will set the election for March during the presidential primaries. Look at the people who are choosing to run for the school board and ask them tough questions. The way our state has set up school systems, there is little to no accountability for the school board on how they're spending their money. That's how you get 10,000 non-teaching employees, in my opinion. There might be a justification for all 10,000 of those positions, but I don't believe it. And here's the problem. There's nobody, not the city council, not the planning commission, not the media, that has been able to force the school system to account for anything. They just shut up and say, shut up and don't say anything. And after a while, those people whose job it is to question them, they just get frustrated in time. I talked to Jim Strickland. I haven't seen him lunch last week, and he, in the last budget meetings, after they threatened to close down schools, they were trying to get that. He'd asked some tough questions, but he let them off the hook. And I asked him why. He was like, "It's just not worth. It's just not worth the time and energy and the fight. They're going to get their budget anyway, and you know."
No, Paul,
it is what it is.
As far as I know, I'm the only.
All the administrations over the years have been able to do this too. A lot of those jobs, you can tell patronage. You work for me in my campaign to make sure you get a job.
I think there might be some of that, but I think the bigger,
not a lot, but there's some.
Yeah, there's probably some of that, but I think the bigger problem is they've got the same. My point is they're the same problem with the federal government, which is their mindset and the bigger is better. Well, it's not just bigger is better, but they just don't see how borrowing $46 billion is bad. They just don't get it in Washington. They just don't understand. I think in the same way, because they've not had an answer for their budget, and they've always gotten more money and grown, and they don't understand having to go before anybody. They just don't get it. And I think it's more than the people who sit on the school board, and you can say what you want about the people on the school board, but I think it's more of an institutionalized, this is the way the system's always worked, and no one's thought, maybe this is not the way the system should work.
Well, in my opinion, it's a kickback program, because what happened,
There may be some of that.
No, Paul, I'm the only Republican candidate as a unified school board applicant. Is it true?
Well, they've not set the date for the election yet, so they've not.
I mean, applicant, unified school board applicant. I think I'm the only Republican.
I don't know.
I believe so.
I'm going to check into that.
Okay.
Just so I'm understanding, a school board with enough integrity and enough interest could change things.
Right, but you would need a school board. What you would need, here's what would make me happy. If an organization were to come together before people start campaigning for the school board, as soon as the date, and would say, these are the things that we want to do. I'm not a big fan of signing pledges and contracts and all that type of stuff, but I think when it comes to the school board, you need to say, these are the efficiencies that we think need to be achieved in the school system. Don't just come campaigning with me, I'm in it for the children, and I want to do the best for the children. Definitely don't come to me saying, I want to get as much money for the children as possible. Because as we know, the amount of money spent on education does not correlate to the quality of the education. I think our biggest problem facing the children, and as far as getting their education, is the communities and the home lives that these children have. I don't think the problem necessarily, because we've been seeing the school system sends kids to Harvard and Yale and Stanford and MIT every single year. The problem is there's just so many more children that are getting pregnant and falling out of school and getting drugs every year. there is, if you want an education in the Minnesota school system, we can get it. We can get a really good one. But there's got to be, we've got to do a better job, A, of protecting the citizens' tax dollars. Like I said, of your county taxes, half of it is going to the schools. Half. On top of that, you pay the wheel tax. And I don't know how much the wheel tax goes to the county, but all of the wheel tax goes to the county, all of it goes to schools. Half to the funding of the schools, and half to paying off the school debt. The Shelby County Support Services mail room charges me a 25% surcharge on all the mail that I send out. 25% surcharge. On top of that, they charge me about $16.60 a day to pick up and deliver my mail. $16.60 something cents a day. What that comes out to is, for this month, which by the way, I don't think they're counting how much mail I do is correct, but if it were correct, I did about 900 pieces of mail in July. Their cost, well, just for the mail was about $1,200 to $1,300. On top of that, they charged me about $700 in premiums in my surcharge and in my daily cost of coming and picking up my mail. No, about $700 a month. Between $700 and $800 a month.
What's your pick, you know, by you being a probate court clerk, who's your pick for presidential candidate for some Republican?
I don't have a candidate yet. I have to say that right now, looking at the group, right now my favorite is, at the moment, Rick Santorum. I don't think he's going to make it to the end. I am not impressed by anybody running right now. And maybe that means my standards are too high. But at this point in time, I don't really have a candidate. Ask me again in January.
Okay.
But at this point in time.
But for right now, you think Rick Santorum is the better one?
Which one?
Rick Santorum.
Right now, Rick Santorum is my favorite of the group to run. Yes.
Okay. Nicholas Pegues reporting here with James Harrell, a potential candidate for the Tennessee 9th Congressional District. Mr. Harrell, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm married, and we've lived in Tennessee for the last, about 24 years. We moved here from Houston, Texas, and I came here as a vice president with Buckman Laboratories.
Awesome.
And I had been involved in the chemical industry most of my life. I have a degree in that area. I also have a master's degree in business administration.
Awesome. Mr. Harrell, I would like to say that as a young, rising entrepreneur and political icon, you have truly inspired me, and I know you'll be a true inspiration to the citizens of young Memphis. And I thank you for your potential service. And I thank you for your service in 2010.
You're very welcome. I might add to that, I have 2 children and 5 grandchildren.
Thank you,
Proud of.
Thank you, Mr. Harrell. You have a blessed day. Thank you. Nicholas Pegues reporting. CNN Our Report.